The modern window display, using your retailer's digital presence to connect with the end consumer, with Dan Pankratz and John Rushworth. Welcome back. We're here again. Appreciate you making it. I know you had a coffee meeting earlier, so I hope you're all wired up.
Oh yeah, I'm buzzing right now, and came home just in time. So I'm glad to see you here again, Dan.
Yeah, it was a great conversation we had last week. We talked a little bit about owning your own digital real estate, drawing the parallels between offline and online real estate with how driving traffic to your website helps your sales, and owning your website is like owning a piece of digital property. And we kind of want to continue that conversation and talking about the parallels of online and offline and how marketing works and just the relationship between brands, retailers, and consumers. And this week I started thinking a little bit about, my history in real estate, my first job, retail, my first job folding clothes during the holidays at Macy's and spending hours literally keeping one or two racks folded. And then moving on to owning retail, the amount of investment brands would put into making sure our racks for their brands in their store represented their brand story. And I remember the first time as we grew from a small little 2,000 square foot store to a 6,000 square foot store, and we had this big space and brands, and we were doing really good, and people liked Dan and Dave and One Way Board Shop and Split Clothing Company, which we discussed. You don't know who they are because I'm a little bit older than you, but goes, hey, we want to put in a rack. And we're like, all right, cool, let's do this. And they came in, and the rack they put in was massive. It took up a huge amount of real estate in our store. And of course, it expanded our sales with Split Clothing. And of course, it made other brands want to do the same thing with us. And then we got into a place where we had a little control as a retailer to not necessarily demand, but help dictate what brands could do in our store, so the consumer gets the best experience when they come visit us. And then the brands got this great experience of being able to tell their brand story to the end consumer through our channel. And I believe today there's a lot of similarities between having great brand representation and a great brand story for a brand on your physical as well as your online. And if a rep was to come into our store back in the day and their rack looked like crap, of course we'd get scolded a little bit, and they'd be like, come on, make sure our stuff looks good. And this day and age, I think brands have that same opportunity to go look at their retailers' digital real estate and go, are our retailers representing us well? And we talked about local search. And if I was to go in and look up a brand and I lived in Santa Maria, California, which I do, and it brought me maybe to the local retailer that carried that brand, and I ended up on that brand page, and that retailer did a bad job taking photos and doing all these different things, and the brand's representation is bad, that gives that brand a bad look. So I kind of want to talk about, different ways brands can work with retailers. And I know, of course, this isn't necessarily a shameless plug for Exchange Collective, but we provide a solution for brands to make sure they have proper representation, but then how brands can utilize and leverage their retailers' digital landscape to help better their brand's representation to the end consumer. So that's kind of a mouthful. I know it's a lot, and we didn't talk much before this, but you're on the spot.
Yeah, no, I love drawing these offline, online parallels. So like you said, a brand in your store has an end cap or has a display that maybe has some graphics and entices someone to shop at that particular clothing rack versus another. Online, brands can have brand pages on websites. Now, there's national retailers that probably do a better job than the local retailer, but we're all about the small business. So forget the national retailers with dozens and dozens of stores. That's fine, but let's talk about the one-off, skate shop or small boutique clothing store, right? So online, the equivalent of an in-store kiosk or an in-store rack with some graphics is a brand page. And so brands should definitely advocate with their small business partners that they're selling wholesale to to have a brand page. And on that brand page, there should be a banner graphic and information about that brand story, right? So that's the brand. That small business, that shop, is also a brand with a story. And so there's two ways that this conversation can go. We should hit on both sides of it. But the brand, they should leverage each individual small business selling their clothing or apparel, and tell their story through that channel. But the shop is its own brand and has a story to tell. So yeah, no, I love that the in-store can be translated online through banners and pages about the story, because people buy into the story more than just a t-shirt. Like a t-shirt that looks cool is one thing, but the connection between a customer, a consumer, right, and that story, that is a stronger connection. And I know we're going to be talking a little bit about influencers and the same thing there, right? So there's a deeper connection that needs to be made nowadays and can efficiently and effectively be made online through retailer websites, through marketing, through influencers. And it's tying a particular customer, consumer into the brand in a deeper way. And it's not just a t-shirt that looks cool.
Right. And so, what I'm hearing and where my brain goes with this is like thinking about, like, again, brands used to do window displays and pay money for window displays, and so that they had a great representation of the brand. And so utilizing the retailers' websites as basically window displays to the end consumer, because it's not as much traffic as their direct consumer business, but there's traffic going to independent retailers' websites. I mean, you're looking for a skateboard and you type in skateboards near me, it's going to pop up the skate shop in town. Surfboards near me, it's going to pop up the skate shop. And so again, when someone's looking for something in a general term, that local search will drive that person there. And then, so if brands are finding the right partners and then doing some maybe partnered messaging, and even whether it's paid or whatever, and the messaging in their digital marketing is, here's our brand story, here's who we're connected with, driving that traffic to the retail site, not necessarily just directly back to their site, kind of creates a better brand loyalty for the end consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the brands need to partner with all of their small businesses and all the shops that sell their items, because not only do you have web banners that can communicate your brand story and I help people identify with your brand better, you have their social media accounts, their email lists, if they're running paid ads through Google shopping ads, like you said, someone sees a particular product that's a couple miles from them on Google, and that link from that image could be to that brand's page on the site that tells more about that brand's particular story. And so there's a lot of mediums online that can communicate an established or startup clothing brand effectively to customers in a local way. And it's extremely valuable. And I think it's something that's not done enough today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this goes into like the next thought I had, and I've had this for a long time, and is, when we had our shop, One Way Board Shop, pre-internet and all the stuff, and no Instagram and social media and all these things, our shop wasn't just a place for people to come shop. Our shop was a place for people to consume content. And the kid would come in, we had a Thrasher magazine, Surfer Mag, all these different things. We had Dying to Live from Zero playing on the Leap of Faith. You saw stuff for the first time at these retail establishments, and that's what drove kids to consume data there, or content there. Things have changed. You can grab content anywhere, but I believe it's still very important for the retailers to create content, not just around, hey, buy more product from me, but hey, here's some rad content. And I think there's a lot of different ways. And you kind of alluded to the whole influencer model. And sure, it'd be great if you can get, and I know this is a horrible example, the Kardashians. I don't know. I went there because, again, I mean, sorry, everybody. My wife watched that for a while, and it's just like, if you want the most disgusting, anyways, I love you, Chloe. Anyways, but not everyone's going to get Tony Hawk. Not everyone's going to get, but the thing is the idea of using, we had our skate team. You really have really powerful influencers as a local independent retailer to use your, skate team, surf team, whoever it is that's influential in your local community to create content with you. And of course, those are, you can spiff those kids out with, free product and that sort of thing. But I also believe the brands need to see, hey, these retailers have these influencers within their market, and how do we leverage those people to help draw the consumer through this influencer, through the retail channel to their brand on there to give that brand loyalty.
Yeah, I mean, I love what you said about that skate shop being a destination to consume content. That's still true today, and maybe even more true. The in-store experience is about customer service, and it's about hanging out, right? So a lot of these, I like mountain biking, I like road biking, and a lot of these local shops in my community have lounges. They serve coffee, espresso. They're a destination for road bikers to meet up before their ride and after their ride, and mountain bikers alike. And they have TVs that are playing, replays of different, downhill mountain biking championships and the worlds, and different road biking content. And so it's about customer service and tailoring a selection of products in a store to that local audience, and retaining them. The longer they're in your store, the more they're going to buy espresso and other types of other clothing and accessories, right?
Right.
And online, you send an email as a small business owner about a brand like All Fam, and maybe there's a link within that email to a video, because people love consuming different types of content, photos and videos alike. And that video, maybe it's 2 minutes long, it gets that potential target customer really bought into the brand and the story that video is telling them. Mm-hmm. And so similar to walking into that brick and mortar store that a video is playing, send an email that highlights a few of the brands within your store and link it to some of their content. Maybe it touches their personal Instagram or the shop's Instagram that's shared a brand story, but it's all about getting more buy-in. And it's not just about a piece of clothing. It's about identifying with that brand, and your email list, segment it out and target them with different types of content like this. So it's definitely been a thing offline, and is more of a thing than ever online.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you look at, all the social media platforms, and people are, driving content there. So, I mean, what I'm hearing, there's so much right now. We've actually talked about a lot of things, and I'm put my small business hat on, and I'm like, well, I don't have time for all of this. How am I can't create content every single day. Like, maybe they are, but if, I'm an owner operator shop, like, there's a lot of stuff to do. And so I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot, John. We didn't talk about this, but what potential solutions out there, aside from the solutions that we have, could retailers use to create more content that drives customers to their sites? And, maybe it's a brand co-op thing. I mean, is there anything that comes to your mind right now that we can, offer to the people listening?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're a store owner, you can talk to your brands, because they have media packets. They'll email you, and they'll love the fact you're asking them to get some of this stuff that they're posting on their channels, so you can post it on yours, right? Email, social media, on your own website or blog, communicating the brands you sell in your store. You don't even need to talk to the brands, though. You can reshare things from a brand's Instagram, and they have bigger budgets probably than your local store to create cool, engaging content that your audience on your personal shop's Instagram will enjoy. So share their post to your story, their story to your story, their reel to your Instagram, and share it on Facebook, and share it on TikTok if you're participating in TikTok, YouTube, right? So you don't even need to take that step and talk to the brand. It's already public content that you can share, because you are a partner of this brand. And so that's an action item you can take right now and do as a local shop.
Okay. And so, I mean, I wasn't anticipating going this route, but since you mentioned those things, how often should a retailer be resharing and reposting, in your opinion, like to
To a
drive the bit?
Instagram story
Yeah.
multiple times a day.
Okay. Instagram
Mul-
stories multiple times a day.
Instagram story you can't do too much of.
Okay.
Honestly, you should do 1 or 2 posts a day max on Instagram, but then there's reels that can be once or twice a week at most. But the story, it's something people are used to consuming frequently and often, and you can't overdo it. And so when you share a Instagram post to the story, or a story you share it to your story, you can just keep doing that and generate some of your own content, even if it's just a store walkthrough. But resharing content, videos and photos is a big thing.
Thanks for joining us today. I really hope you enjoyed the show and our conversation on how brands and retailers can work together to connect with the end consumer. Please join us next time as we continue our discussion on how brands and retailers can work together to create an authentic retail experience.